Thanks for listening to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name is Jeremiah Krakowski, and on this podcast, we talk about ways for you to grow in your life and in a business to 6, 7, and 8 figures to reach your goals, to live a bigger life. Listen, this is about balance in health, wealth, relationship, mindset, making money, and tools, tips, tricks, and strategies that are going to help move you from where you are to where you want to be. On this episode, I'm going to talk about how to find your target customer, especially when it comes to if you are entering a new market, if you have never gone into that market. And I've broken this down in some past episodes. Over the last couple of months, I've been coaching people through this. I have my social media ads that work course that I launched. It's $47 on my website that will help you create social media ads that find your target customer. But there's some psychology that I want to break down for anybody to think about. And this is all encompassing in your efforts. That way you're not wasting time building things that are not going to work. What you need to do is figure out two things. What have you done successfully before? And what was that market that you've done it in? Okay? And then I want you to come and take a step back. Now, if you're somebody that has never been successful in business before, you don't have a product or service yet, that's the first step. You're going to want to figure that out. And I have a number of episodes where I walk people through that. You can go through some of those episodes as well, finding a business that fits your passion, turning your ideas into profit, things like that. But if you're somebody that has an idea of what you want to sell, how do you find the people that are going to buy from you? We have to first look at who is your ideal target customer. But this isn't going to just be a training on that. I want to help you find where they live, where they exist, what they think about, what their problems are, and how to deliver solutions to them. Because ultimately, in business, that's what you're doing. You are finding those people and communicating directly to them the solution that you have to offer. Now, you need to have a solution that you're going to offer those people. Right? And so taking whatever your product or service is as a solution, then we need to work backwards and find the people that will most benefit from that. For example, what I do in business, this podcast is designed strategically for the type of person that I most benefit with my products, services, and courses. But you can take what I teach in this podcast, these free episodes, and you're going to get results by applying them because it's the same level of training, teaching, and coaching that I give people paid. I'm just breaking it down into small, tiny, little bite-sized chunks. We're going in step one. And honestly, for you to sell products or services online using ads, using marketing, using copywriting, using a podcast, social media, Facebook groups, this right here is step number one. If you can get this down, everything else starts to open up for you, okay? So think about what you are selling, what you can confidently deliver to people. And maybe if you're not confident in it, it will take some courage to deliver that. As long as you know that what you are delivering produces the promised result, and you know how to bring that result about in people, now we can go to work together, figuring out how to find those people and communicating to them to bring them to a place where they will purchase from you. You see, ultimately, what we're trying to do is build the belief level in somebody that we can deliver on what we are promising. Then that's important, to be able to deliver on what we promise. And so, if you can deliver on what you promise, you have a product or service that is helping people, your entire mission is, how do I find the people that I most benefit, that will most benefit from what I offer, and increase their level of belief, certainty, and trust that I can deliver on what I promise. And people will be willing to pay you any amount of money in any economy, in any market, if they have that vision and certainty where they know that they know that they know, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to help them know that you can create that promised result for them. And so that's what marketing and sales are. Let's bring it back to the beginning, though. This is the first step, is finding those people, finding the target audience that you're going to be promoting to. And so this starts with two things. I'm going to start with, if you have done it before, this becomes very easy. If you haven't, there's more work involved in discovering it. And so you have to be intentional at putting in the work needed to get the result. It might take you a couple days, even weeks, maybe even a month to really get clear on this. Beyond a month, you're wasting time and going a little too deep without trying anything. Oftentimes, this is something that I recommend to people, is that if you're constantly spinning around in circles for more than 30 days on an idea, either put it aside or take action on something because indecision is the biggest thing that's going to kill business. Okay? And that's why ultimately we have to test things. When we put things out there, testing is what validates and verifies and proves to us that we are on the right track. Without testing, without experimentation, we can't prove a hypothesis. This is a scientific theory. That's the whole idea behind theory and hypothesis. You take a hypothesis as an idea that's unproven, you prove it, it becomes theory. And so this is the theory that's proven, that has worked for every single customer, client, and company that I've worked with over the years to find the target customers that will buy from them. And what happens is all of your copywriting, all of your sales process, all of your communication, all of your email marketing, and all of that comes from this foundation of who is my target customer. Where do they exist, and how do I talk to them in a way that moves them along a path to buy from me? That's ultimately what you're trying to do. And so how do we find these people? If you have done something before in the past successfully, and I'm going to get to after this, if you haven't done something before, that's a little more work. So I'm going to start with, because it's a lot quicker if you've done something successfully before. If you've done something successfully before, think about the types of people that you've helped. Write down patterns. What I like to do is I will sit down, okay, the people that are buying my products or services, what do they all have in common? What similarities do they all have? And if you don't have people buying your products or services from you, again, that is the place where you need to figure out why is that? And that's where more intentional research comes in. Okay? And we'll talk about that after this. If you've had people buying products or services from you, what similarities do they have? Start to write them down. What patterns do they have? What are their interests? What drives them? What are their struggles? What are their pain points? Okay? And oftentimes we have to dive deeper into this. And so we have to say, okay, let's say you're selling health coaching, okay, for example, or any kind of coaching really. Most of the time, if you're coaching people, it's because they're exhausted, burnt out, stressed out, tired of spinning in circles, and want to get more results without needing to do as much work anymore, thinking or figuring it out for themselves. That's why you, for example, would listen to a podcast like this. That's why you, for example, would hire me as a coach or go through my courses. And so as a coach, we need to figure out, okay, how do we find those people? So you want to think about that. These are people with problems. They have issues. They might be successful. They might have success, by the way. But there's a pain point, a thorn in their side that you can help pull out for them to be a painkiller to them. And so your work, your efforts are that painkiller that pulls that thorn out of their side. When we're teaching somebody, teaching people, we're able to show them the path to do that. When we're coaching people, it's a little bit more than teaching. Coaching is a little bit different than teaching. Coaching is where you are helping somebody else discover the problems that they have themselves to help move and empower them to build a framework so that you're not just teaching them how to fish, you're empowering them to do it without you in the future. And so you have to help them move them along a path of what got you there, okay? And so we got to think about this. When coaching people, a health coach, they need to be motivated. They need to be self-starters. They need to be teachable. They need to learn and be willing to learn what they don't know. They need to have the right reasons for doing it. Listen, if somebody just wants energy to stay awake longer, there's drugs they could buy to do that. Think about that. But why would they come to you and not use drugs? So that right there, now we've honed that in. They don't want to do anything, A, that's unethical, makes them feel like crap, or is unhealthy for their body. See? And so now we've kind of separated from just the basics of this person wants more energy. This person wants to make more money. Think of it this way. If you're helping people make more money, do they want to make more money to have an impact or just to pay their bills? Many times I try to create content that helps both people, but I'm helping the person that just wants to pay their bills realize that it has to be much bigger than them. Okay? And the people that I coach and work with the best, that produce the most results, they're heart-driven, they're purpose-driven. They come from a place of having a mission in mind bigger than just money. They want to help people, do it with integrity, being honest. Okay? And so think about that. Also, many times, the people that you resonate with have those same desires that you do. For example, I'm somebody that cares about impact, being honest, having integrity. So I attract what I am like by putting that out there to people. And oftentimes it's people that were a step behind where I'm at in these areas. I'm helping pull them up. By the way, oftentimes I work with people that are extremely successful. They could be, and some of them are, mentors to me in other areas. They mentor me in these areas that I'm not good at, and I help them in the areas that I'm good at that they're not good at. And it works synergistically well together. And so this is why we have to have respect and honor with other people and realize that all of us are at a different place in our journey. But if we can find the target customer that we can best serve and help move them along a path that they can buy our products and be successful with that, we can close more deals, close more sales. And so we have to think about what drives these people. Many times, if somebody wants coaching, they've been successful before, but they are hitting a plateau. They're hitting a brick wall. They want something different in their life. Let's change this a little bit up. Now. I want to move this over to e-commerce, for example. They've tried all kinds of other products before. They're tired of not getting results. They want to look good, feel good. And so what it is you want to find people that care about. Let's say you're selling a product that's health related. It depends. Is it weight loss or is it energy? These are two different things, right? You're going to market to the energy crowd. They may not actually want to lose weight, though that would be a nice side effect, right? Versus the weight loss crowd might not be so motivated by just energy. If somebody's holistic, they're going to definitely want both, and that's where you got to be real key in that. Let's say somebody's in a service provider business. They're providing a service. Could be photographers, could be wedding planners, could be Facebook ads, could be social media management, okay? So if you're somebody that's helping coach people in these areas, you got to understand what are the pain points that drives them. Maybe you're running a service for people. You need to understand the pain point that drives somebody to hire you. What are they tired of? What are they sick and tired of? And how can you be that solution for them, okay? So think about that. Think about the psychology of what drives them, what they think about, what are their pain points. What are their frustrations? By the way, you may not agree with their frustrations. You might not. And so this actually gives you an opportunity to help coach people to become your target customer. If they have a frustration that you know is keeping them from a result, right? If somebody believes that their target market has no money to buy from them, if they believe that everything needs to be perfect before they take action, if they believe that health and fitness doesn't work and that there's something else like genetics that drives people, right? If they believe that success is too hard and escapes people like them, think about this. Let's say these are some beliefs that your target client has. They believe that agencies that do services, they've hired a bunch before and they haven't helped them. This is where you can help other people see the light, see the benefits, see how working with you is different than working with another person. And so what you want to do is ultimately you want to find, this is where opportunity exists, the people who are the most frustrated in your market, that you offer a solution that solves their frustration. Your most frustrated customer is going to tell you how to sell to your entire market. Is going to tell you how to reach your target market. And so we have to open up to not just being understood by people, but understanding where they come from. And this is kind of the work involved with selling and finding our target customer, is coming from that place of understanding where somebody is along their journey. Maybe you have never done what you help people with. I know people, they provide services to business owners that are making a lot of money, but they don't make a lot of money themselves. So how can they provide a service to somebody that is that far ahead of them? Well, they have to hire somebody to do the work, right? They need somebody to do that work. And this is where many times you want to look to them for wisdom about their market, their strategy. Many times they have good input to give you. And you can have a conversation and start to ask questions. Instead of being so critical of your market, instead of being so critical of what they're doing wrong that they should do right, instead make it your mission to help bring them into the fold with you. Bring them into the vision. And this is part of finding your target customer and selling to them powerfully, is you have to help them see in their mind's eye what is possible for them when they buy from you. But you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to communicate in that way. You're not going to be able to create ad campaigns and landing pages and marketing and sales and opt-in offers and products, if you're creating products or communicating what your product can do for somebody, unless you understand your target customer and understand their frustrations and what drives them. Not so that you can combat them, not so that you can come up against those frustrations and prove them wrong, but rather move somebody into understanding what they need to learn, what they don't know. And when you can do this, when you help people get it, that's the idea. Theodore Roosevelt said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so your target audience needs to know that you care about what they are dealing with. So let's say that you do health coaching, and your target audience is executives that are burnt out and stressed out. What you're wanting to do is ultimately lead them down a path to, if you just tell somebody that's burnt out, stressed out, well, it's how you're eating that's wrong, they're going to say, I don't need to hear that. They're going to go find somebody else that's actually serving them. So what you want to do is you want to serve people to realize that, okay, they need more energy. It's related to their habits. It's related to their stress. It's related to what they're eating. And so then you can inform them once that trust is built. This is the part where a lot of people miss, is building that trust with people so that then you can bring them and present to them what you have to offer. Many times, if we're presenting to people our offers before there's trust built, that's where you're going to have no sales, no clicks, and no leads. Is because without that trust being built, people are seeing what you have to offer and they're just like, I don't know if that's going to help me or not. And what's cool is we have the opportunity to build trust with our target audience through social media, through marketing, through sales, through email, through copywriting. And when you can discover and learn what drives your target customer to a transformation, what drives them, you can help move them along that path. So for instance, let's say you help service providers with something and they really just believe that nobody is paying for services right now. How do you help those people realize that there are things that they can do, even if they're not things that they've ever thought of or even want to do? How do you help that person realize that? You help move them along a path to see the light of what they've never explored before, but you have to show them that you understand their frustrations, that you understand what their pain points are, what they're dealing with, what they're struggling with. And when somebody sees that you understand what they're dealing with, they're very likely to purchase what it is that you have to offer. Now, there's a flip side of this. There's always going to be a number of people that are not going to purchase what you have to offer. Those people, don't worry about that. They'll either come around eventually or find somebody else. If you could just be a tool along that path for them, that's great. And this is why we need to make our goal and our mission not just making money, but having an impact and doing these things, speaking boldly, speaking powerfully, not being afraid to bring truth and present hard things to people in a way that shows that we care, that shows that we understand what we're speaking about, what they are feeling when we're speaking. And so for you to find your target customer, we have to spend some time being intentional about that. Let's say you're looking for business owners to use your product or service. They don't have time to spend on social media all the time, but they're still on it. They want to know that you're going to save them time and do it all for them. If you're a do-it-for-you service, you have to tell people, hey, listen, this is done for you. I'm doing it for you. Hire my team to build it for you so you don't have to. That's how you do that. That's how you communicate that way. If you're coaching people, you want them to realize that I'm going to be here alongside you every step of the way, along the process, using a proven system. And it works. And the other side of this is that many times we have to grow personally in some of the issues that our target customer has. This has been a big one for me, and this is one that not a lot of people talk about when it comes to selling and marketing to their target customer, is that if you have a certain objection to something that is the same as what your target customer has, but it's unhealthy, you're going to have a conflict in marketing and selling to that person. And so this is where personal development and personal growth can help. This is where mindset can help, is thinking about, okay, how can I personally grow in certain ways, in my abilities in sales, in communication, in how I talk to people, and how I present things, in how I look at the world, being critical of myself or other people, and in how I understand other people. And maybe figuring out what's stopping me from growing in that way. What beliefs do I have? Oftentimes our actions when it comes to working with other people, selling, marketing, and finding our target customer, they're connected to the beliefs that we have about our target customer. And so what we have to do is we have to discover, what am I believing about my target customer? And what's the truth? And see if those two are aligned. Okay? And so let's say that your target customer says, well, there's no money in this market. While that might be true, if you could show them another way of how to do something, and you can move them along a path of saying there's no money in the market to realizing that there is, now you can get somebody to buy from you because you're walking them along that path. And so that's what we have to learn, is how do we lead other people from where they are to where they want to be. And this comes by learning about what drives them, understanding, and helping them make it their idea. So when somebody is looking for information to buy what you have to offer, maybe you're doing prospecting. Maybe you're launching something with ads. Maybe you're trying to generate and bring up leads with people. You have to show people in your ads and your leads that you understand the struggles that they're dealing with, while simultaneously casting vision for the transformation and the result that they're going to get after they work with you. So this is the two sides to that. They need to be able to see the transformation, see the result before they buy from you. They need to visually and mentally imagine the result clearly before they purchase from you. And then you're going to be able to move them from a maybe to a yes, or a I have objections, this is hard, to a yes. And then what's cool is along the process, this actually becomes that way. When we're teaching and even coaching people, working with people, helping them use a product, listen, the relationship doesn't end once the purchase happens. This is why you have to figure out ways to help people consume and use what you have to offer and get the most out of it. Listen, if you've ever bought something before and somebody left you to have to figure it out for yourself, they sold you on something, and then you had to do all the work yourself to figure it out, and they weren't there to help guide you along the way, you might be jaded in what you can deliver to other people. If you think that that's what you want to do or don't want to do to other people, especially if you have a standard that you don't want to do that with other people, you might be very critical in the nature of how you're delivering what you offer to people. And so this is why we have to figure out what's our best framework of delivering value to people. What's our best framework of delivering to people what is going to get them that transformation? And so how do we find these people? Well, we have to immerse ourselves in the world of our target customer. Reading the publications that they read, reading the books that they read, looking on Amazon reviews, joining the Facebook groups that they're in, following the pages that they follow, looking at the comments that they leave on the pages, Amazon reviews, forums. Listen, if you're selling social media services to restaurant owners, you're not a restaurant owner, you know what you can do though? You can join groups of restaurants. You can join groups of restaurant owners and forums and read books and learn what you don't know about that industry, and then marry what you do know together to deliver that transformation. Let's say you're servicing an industry that you haven't been in before. You can learn what you don't know about that industry. And over time, you're going to get really good at that. And you're going to notice there's maybe 1 to 2 to 3 different industries of people that you're really servicing. That's where you hone in on your target customer. And all of your efforts, all of your communications are around what serves that person. Listen, if you want to have a great impact on a wide audience of people, you have to hone in on the one person that you can help the most, scale that out to as many people as possible, and empower others to empower others. And then you can pivot slightly to have another impact. So let's say that you've helped service providers in a certain way, you've grown in a certain skill, you could pivot to maybe helping these service providers teach other people how to be service providers. That's a step along the way. Maybe you have business owners that you're helping with a service. You could actually help those business owners learn how to do the service that you do themselves. And now sometimes people might think, well, why would I do that? I'd be out of a job. You're going to make a lot more money teaching other people how to do what you know how to do and taking your knowledge and imparting it into other people. And this is how we stair step that along the way. This is how we grow in that skill. Listen, when I started off in business, I helped people with videos, building websites, creating testimonial videos, and funnels to close sales to get into conferences, events, coaching programs, and buying physical products. And that's what I've done for 17 years with people, is doing that. When I started with that, it was really focused on the technical. How did I go from that as a video guy? But it's really what it was. I was the video guy for a lot of these people. I was the web guy, How did I go from that to being able to help bring transformation into these businesses? I learned more about running those businesses and cared more about bringing results to those businesses that I served. And as I learned that over time and tested things, I discovered, okay, this is how we do that. Now, how did I stair step that? I started getting leadership roles in companies, consulting in companies that I worked with, coaching and consulting. And over time, the results that were created doing that led to where I am today. And so for many of you, wherever you're at right now, we have to come into the basics of being realistic. Really realistic about where we're at right now. I'm somebody that's a huge proponent of dreaming big, impossible dreams, big vision, big ideas. I've shared with you some of those myself. Running billion-dollar tech companies, creating video games, film, movies, music, things like that. But for me to get there, I have to help people learn how to communicate, learn how to become better storytellers. I have to help people grow in their businesses. I have to help people with what I know I'm good at and move them in transformative ways to gain capital in my business, to grow in revenue, to be able to pour in and invest in these bigger dreams later, to learn how to hire people to do things, not needing to be the one that's doing it all myself. And so what we have to do is become realistic about, okay, I have a goal. Where am I at today? Identifying where I'm at, where I'm starting from, and then looking at how can I help the people that are in my lane, that I've helped, that I know how to do, that are in my audience? How do I find those people that can most benefit from what I have to offer? What do they read? What do they study? What are they interested in? What tools do they use? What other products are they using? Let's say you're selling hair care products. I'm not talking about other hair care products. What other products would somebody that uses your hair care use in their life that are not hair related? This is how you find a broad audience of people. And then you communicate in a way that speaks to the problems of the person that you have the solution for by showing them the solution that you offer. You show them the solution. You communicate powerfully in a way that casts vision for what you can do, and you move them to watch through your video ad, click through to your landing page, fill out your form, purchase what you have to offer, buy from you. All by learning what drives my target customer to take an action. What brings them into that place? How can I best lead them in that way? And this is really learning to understand where your target customer comes from. When you can do this, when you are intentional about learning where your target customer comes from, you can deliver and sell to these people. Now, practically speaking, just if it comes to Facebook ads, if you're targeting burnt out business owners for health coaching, you're going to want to look at Whole Foods, Forbes, Entrepreneur, magazines, publications that they study. You might say, well, how is that magazine related to this? Because the people that you serve best that are looking for more energy, you're going to be able to move them along that path, creating offers. This is the whole idea of having offers. They don't have buy-in for what you offer yet. You have to move them along that path by starting with what are their biggest desires that they would hire you for. more energy, more time with the kids to ultimately make more money and live a better life. Why would a service provider want to make more money? So they don't have to work so hard, so they don't have to be stressed out. So speak to the fact that how to handle your stress in this market, how to live stress-free, how to have clarity and focus right now in uncertainty. And if somebody's like, well, that's just too hard, then you got to speak to that fact. Why do they think it's too hard? Why do they think it's too difficult? Explore that. Ask them questions. And that's ultimately a big part of it, is you might need to directly, maybe even direct message some people that you have in communication with, not random people. You might be able to comment back to people in forums and feeds, in groups, asking them questions. You could even put a question out there. What's your biggest struggle in XYZ, in being confident and having clarity in this market to get customers? What's your biggest struggle? What's your biggest struggle that your customers are having? This is what I ask a lot of my customers. What's the biggest struggle that your customers are having? Because that tells me their biggest struggle if they're having a hard time communicating to those people. We have to discover that. It goes deep. And when you can do this, you can find and pinpoint, okay, where do they hang out? What do they think about? What is their lifestyle? You can target their lifestyle based on the psychology of what they're thinking about to find that target customer. And now, in my course, Social Media Ads That Work, I show you how to, based on the action that they take, whether they're clicking over to your landing page, whether they are filling out a form, whether they're listening to a podcast episode of some kind, how to build an audience that uses the artificial intelligence. You literally click one button. You say, take this audience, build a lookalike audience of these people, and then you just start targeting your message to these people that have already said that they have the problem that you have to offer. How do you know that they've said it? Because if you're saying I deliver a solution to a problem and people click through and fill out a form or click through a button to learn more about the solution, that action of clicking through that is saying I have that problem, or I ultimately help people that have that problem. They might be maybe looking into what you're doing as well. And so that lookalike audience is going to find those people that you can serve. And then you're going to be able to deliver communications, advertising, offers, and things that help serve these people right where they are at, finding them right where they are at with the intention for the transformation that you can bring in. And then you communicate and speak in that way powerfully of what transformation you can bring. What solution do you offer to their problems? So if you're somebody that wants to learn how to target and find customers through social media ads, my course, Social Media Ads That Work, will help you do that. If you want a little more hand-holding, walking through this process in finding those target customers, I was working with a lady a couple days ago. We found that. We figured out, okay, here's your target customer. Here's who we're going to target. This is how we are going to find them. These are the words that we're going to use to bring them into that. And she's got leads coming in right now. Listen, sometimes your offers aren't going to work, by the way. Sometimes we're going to test some things out. I love when an offer doesn't work because it shows, okay, that didn't resonate with this audience. Let's tweak it now. Let's adjust just a little thing. Let's adjust the video. Let's adjust the headline. Let's adjust the copy. When you adjust and keep testing, then we start to discover and learn what do people respond to, and that helps us get results. Whenever I launch a program, product, service, oftentimes it breaks even in the beginning. And as we start to get more clear on, okay, what do these people resonate with? What are they? What's converting them? What's making them? What's bringing them in? What's bringing them to my page to take an action? What's driving them? We learn that by the data that we get, the feedback that we get from comments from people, and spending time researching this. Now, if you don't and never have delivered a product or service to somebody, you have to spend just a lot more time and energy learning this stuff. Spend time having conversations with people. Get into more person-to-person conversations, whether it's on comments, direct messages, forums, reading the comments that people leave, to get the feedback from them of what their struggles are, and learning and discovering what you don't know. You very well could have a belief about what your audience resonates with that is not really what their problem is. And they're going to tell you that when you ask. Listen, if we guess or try to assume what our audience's problem is, that's a recipe for a disaster and wasted money. So this is where we have to be really intentional to discover what drives them. What don't I know about them? Spend some time mapping it out on a piece of paper. What do they resonate? What other products are they buying? What's the styling of those products that they're buying? What's the perspective of the communication of other people that market products or services to my target audience that maybe I'm not doing? And when we do this, we learn this, we discover this, we make it all about our target customer. We can move them to purchase from us. So if you want somebody to help walk you through that and hold your hand, I'd love to work with you. You can schedule a 15-minute call with me where we can talk about your sticking points, your customers, your product, your service, your goals, and start to develop a strategy for you to create results in this area. You can head on over to my website, jeremiahkrakowski.com. Under the tab on the menu, click Coaching and select that free 15-minute call for you to do that. If you go to my website, jeremiahkrakowski.com, you might get hit with other ads as well that will have you do that. We can develop a plan and a strategy for you to find those people. And listen, if you want to win a 30-minute coaching session with me, where we can just go through this real fast for 30 minutes, you can leave hashtag Grow Your Life on my Instagram. I pick winners on Sunday to win a free 30-minute session with me. Just had a great call with a lady that's launching a membership site to empower women, creatives. And we helped her with that offer, coming up with ideas, all on that free call. So love to work with you, love to talk with you. Grow your life, everybody. Have a good one.